of the Hollis Airport Commission, Advisory Commission. Please join us in a salute to our nation and flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Chairman Machado.
Here.
Commissioner Judd.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Sunseri.
Here.
Martinez.
Here.
And I am here, and Commissioner Houston and Scatini are marked as absent.
Okay, verification of agenda posting.
The agenda for the Airport Advisory Commission of the City of Hollister meeting of September 26th of 2018 was posted on the bulletin board at City Hall on September 20th at 10 a.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Consent approval of the minutes of Advisory Commission meeting of August the 22nd.
Go ahead.
I'll move to approve the minutes of August 22nd.
So I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Public input. In fact, before the public input, of all the years I've been on the commission, I think this is the biggest attendance we have. I know why you're here. You'll enjoy it, please. Maybe. But we welcome the government students here. I'm assuming that's what you all are, government students. Yeah. And a few of the steadies are here too. So, at least two of them. All right, thank you for being in attendance. Public input. Is there in the audience who would like to address the commission that's an item not on the agenda? No? Reports. Airport Improvement Program Rehabilitation Runway 13-13 or 31, Phase 1.
You know, this is the legal case on that project, and there was a document filing deadline this week. We provided the documents as requested by our council, and the files were documented or filed. The documents were filed on time. We have a date in April for the arbitration case to be heard. So between now and April, there'll be additional discovery items, but that's what we're waiting for.
Any questions? No. B, CAL FIRE update.
Staff has been working with Assemblyperson Caballero to effectively get CAL FIRE's attention and a final verdict on what they were planning on doing. As you're aware, we have a long-standing lease with them for a ground lease. They signed it almost 10 years ago, and there's been no action on that on a 50-year lease. And after months of work with a consultant and Assemblyperson Caballero, it all kind of came to a head about 2 weeks ago. I traveled to Salinas to her office, and we had a telephone conference with CAL FIRE, and everybody from the head of CAL FIRE on down was on the line. And effectively, the answer is that they will begin the project in December of 2024. The governor issues a 5-year capital improvement budget every December, and we will not be in this year's capital improvement this December, but we will be in the December 2019 on the outskirts of 5 years. At the end of the meeting, I was asked if there was anything else that would help, and I asked that CAL FIRE give us a semi-annual update on our location on their project list, our priority, etc., in writing. They said that they would do this. Of course, it's been a few weeks and I have yet to receive anything. If I don't receive anything by the end of the year, I'll be contacting Assemblyperson Caballero's office and proceeding to get their attention yet again so that they fulfill that obligation.
That would be Senator Caballero? Theoretically.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So that sounds like it'll be 15 years into this 50-year lease when they finally get around to starting the project?
Just about.
And so basically it'll probably finish 20 years into the lease.
I wouldn't expect construction to take more than 2 years.
Well, all right, 17, 18 years, which will leave them a little over 30 years left.
That's correct.
And they have no problem with that. I assume if they try to renegotiate the length of the lease, that we renegotiate the price too.
That would be up to the negotiator at that time.
I know you don't plan to be around by then.
I don't know if I'm going to make another 40 years. We'll see.
Well, okay. Whoever is still around, keep that in mind. Thank you.
Any other questions of Cal Fire? Okay. Next item is 7C, Building Improvements, Restaurant, Old Navy Brig.
Boy, is this a project. It's one step forward, two steps back. The plumbing is complete, and we moved on to installing the new hood for the stoves. During that process, we had opened up the ceiling to see where we were anchoring it at, and we discovered that the ceiling doesn't meet code. So we spent effectively all of last week rebuilding the ceiling in place. There was actual structural issues with the ceiling, and it was just straight up scary. Effectively, we had 2x4s holding that roof up all this time with a 12-foot span. They were really 2x6s, but somebody drilled a hole about 4 inches down on the 2x6, weakening it to effectively the strength of a 2x4. So we had to restructure the roof. That is done. The hood is actually hanging. The holes have been cut in the roof for the stuff. Currently waiting on the electrician to come out and wire everything up. It's all fancy where if the fire Ansel system kicks off, it's got to kill the electrical and the gas lines and everything else. All that's automatic, and that's well above our in-house electrical abilities, so we're going to have that done by a licensed electrician. In the meantime, we're beginning construction on a 10 by 16 shed in the back for dry storage, because the restaurant itself doesn't have much storage in there, and there used to be a tough storage shed behind the restaurant that belonged to the previous restaurant operator, and they took it with them when they left. So we're just going to go ahead and construct one that's a 10 by 16 to take care of that issue. As soon as the electrical's done, we'll drop the hood again, do the ceiling. We got to put sheetrock back up on the ceiling, and then we'll mount the hood permanently and begin work on the tile floor. So we're getting a lot closer. In addition to all that work, at the October 15th council meeting, we will be asking the City Council to consider issuing a request for qualifications for a operator to negotiate a lease with. So that'll be going to council at that meeting.
Any questions?
I have a couple. You mentioned that the electrician's going in to repair or replace what's existing. Are we close to being within budget on that? Or
Yes. He's not replacing, because as you know, one of the projects we did was to update the electrical in there, because we had 3 fuse boxes from 3 different Millennium. So this just adds the lines from the boxes in there and then connects everything to the valves and all that automatic stuff. So.
With regard to the shed, is that going to have electricity in it too?
There will be electricity for a light. And
okay. Would that be also factored in when the electrician comes out?
Oh, we'll take care of that ourselves.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. 7D, AIP 20, Airport Improvement Program.
So that is the design grant for the parallel taxiway. It has been awarded. There was a miscommunication with the FAA. They indicated that we would be receiving the whole grant for design and construction this year. That did not happen. We just got the design money, so the construction money is programmed for next year. So our consultant is currently designing the taxiway project, and we are on schedule to have bids in hand ready to go come next grant season so that we can get that construction grant and proceed. This will be a summer construction project because it does not really affect operations at CAL FIRE. They can be out there working because they're outside the safety area on the majority of the taxiway. We are specifying that when they connect it to 3-1 and they encroach in that safety area, that work will need to occur at night. So for once, we won't be battling weather with this project.
Question?
Yes, sir.
Does the same apply to moving taxiway Bravo or whatever?
Yes,
Yeah, that'll be at night also.
yes. Anytime they're inside the runway safety area, they'll be working at night.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, 7E, Fire Station number 3, ETC.
Fire station number 3 is open and staffed, and we're currently working diligently to run fiber optics out to the fire station from the city network. So staff, and you'll hear a little more about it later, staff is currently trenching 6,000 feet because the fiber optic node happens to be in the dog park, and we got to get it all the way around out to where the fire station is, and we can't run across the runway, so we got to go all the way around the perimeter. So I would say that the trenching is over halfway complete, and the conduit is rapidly approaching halfway being complete.
Question. I was out there today and noticed what's going on. Are you going to trench across the entrance to the airport over there, or are you going to drill under the road?
Where CAL FIRE's
No,
entrance?
where I entered today,
We'll be trenching straight across it.
because it seems to have been skipped so far.
It is skipped so far.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll be trenching right across that. Also, CAL FIRE's driveway also will be getting trenched. It won't get trenched up where the traffic loops are. We will be dropping it down more near the Jerry Gabe sign, but we have to get to that side of the road.
And I presume they'll put plates or something over
Yeah,
it.
we'll drop a plate and you will have access.
Okay, thank you.
Question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Is this coming out of the airport budget? The cost
No.
of this? No? Okay.
Is this all internally?
I'm sorry?
Is it trenching internally?
We are handling the trenching and laying of the conduit, and then we'll be contracting with a fiber provider to run the fiber and connect it. I'm sorry, not we, IT will.
Any other questions?
While we're doing this, we are adding, as we're working across the back next to through the fence area, we are adding a node every 250 feet. So in the future, we can expand from there off into that business park.
Is that fairly permanent, station number 3?
It will probably be there from 5 to 10 years.
Okay. I
We
see
have
that.
identified another site for a permanent station.
Okay, I guess that's where I was going, at the motorhome park.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe a little clarity there.
So
Street
we
cost.
we have met internally and we've identified the block of the airport that currently has the Elks Lodge parking, the empty parking lot, and the old DK airplane junkyard as the location for a permanent fire station number 3.
All right, any questions? 7C, 7FTPA, change traffic pattern altitude.
The application to adjust the traffic pattern altitude has been submitted to the FAA. We are waiting for a case number for the, help me, it's not airway clearance. What? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm tired. I'm blanking on the
It's
exact.
number for the application to change the,
Yeah, but they do the case and they make sure there's no aerial obstructions. I can't remember the term right now, but effectively they got to make sure there's nothing in the way of changing that, dropping that altitude down, like a mountain or something.
that we're raising it, not lowering it.
I'm sorry. They got to make sure there's not a mountain above to raise it. FAA. The application's been submitted. We're waiting on them.
So again, I have a question.
Yes.
And it's sort of to anybody. Does anybody know why we have had an 800-foot traffic pattern altitude? Because I'd just sure like to know why.
I think I can answer that. 800 feet was pretty much the standard all over the country for a long time.
Was it? Oh,
Every airport I flew on used to be 800 feet back east. Anyway.
oh, okay. I guess I never noticed. Never knew. Some of us been flying longer than others, I guess.
It'll get nasty now.
The only other thing I can think of to do would be to attempt to contact Alan.
Yeah, well, if somebody bumps into Alan, ask him maybe. But I certainly see no downside, other than, I mean, and the upside is maybe we'll get standardized, and Fred and I won't run into each other.
Ooh.
Flying at the same altitude.
It's attitude too, you know, not just altitude. Okay, 7G, World War II bomb.
Yeah, this is an exciting story for the evening. So as we are trenching across the dog park, staff made a discovery. They dug up a bomb dating back to World War II. And that particular bomb, which is on the table over there, is a training bomb that was used by the aircraft at a local bomb range. It was effectively operated by a giant shotgun shell, and then they packed a whole bunch of phosphorus and other lovely things into that centerpiece to make a big show when it went off. It was live. So we had to have the Monterey County Bomb Squad out, and they so kindly disarmed it for us, and they did that by a shape charge, which caused a small pop. I made a phone call to the local businesses to give them a heads up. Rumor has it that one of the employees forgot that we warned them, and was quite surprised when the very large explosion went off. But anyway, it's been rendered inert, and it's safe. Out of an abundance of caution, because the maps for the World War II base show that the base incinerator was over there where the dog park is, and I'm guessing they didn't carry the trash too far away to bury it after the incineration process. There's a supplemental appropriation for $7,000 going to council on October 1st to hire a ground penetration radar survey company out of San Jose to go survey the entire dog park because next year we are scheduled to dig up the entire dog park in order to put in a new irrigation system and get turf going out there. So at an extreme abundance of caution, we're going to just have the whole place scanned.
Would you like to go to the podium?
You got an audience.
Because of the cameras. We love you.
Ruth Erickson. My thought is, shouldn't that be under federal the cost for the feds, not under us?
No, we signed papers about 20 years ago when they came through and pulled the bunkers out, saying whatever we find from here on out is ours. Now, with that said, if we uncover a whole bunch of stuff, yeah, the feds are going to get involved.
Because
but-
when you were digging up where the other site was, a few years ago, wasn't that under the feds?
I did locate a couple buried oil tanks that they missed, and I was able to encourage them to come out and take them too, and they did. That was luck. They had no obligation to do that.
When they were looking for these bombs and things out towards Fairview, that's what I'm talking about.
I wasn't involved in that. We did locate some buried oil tanks at the airport 6, 7 years ago, I think. And I was able to get them back out to dig that stuff up. Like I said, if we find 5 or 6 targets, I'm sure they'll come out and do it. We are in conversation with the feds about this whole situation, but as far as they're concerned, one thing, they're not too excited. It was handled by the bomb squad. They don't want to, they haven't even been out to check anything.
Okay.
So it's a small price to pay for peace of mind. We're going to just go ahead and do that. Depending on the survey results, we'll proceed from there on whether or not we get the Navy back out to take their stuff.
I got a question.
Sure.
What's to say there aren't some of these bombs floating around in that area that we hopefully someday will lease to somebody to build hangars on?
Let's hope not.
What? Okay.
More than likely there isn't, because that was not the area that they were storing it at. Everything, everywhere that's paved or there's concrete, they were not storing in there.
You're going to get me in trouble with Ruth.
I just,
I understand, and that is a discussion that's had with the tenants when they're building out there. That conversation was had with Zero when they built their hangar over there.
Did they get ground penetrating radar to
They
check?
did not, and they didn't find anything
They
either.
just figured it
That
went.
was the storage area for everything. I think the reason why we found this was it was near the dump.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we'll see how it goes at the dog park. If we find abundance of stuff, then maybe we do need to do the whole airport. We'll see.
Thank you.
I think a little clarity. I see faces in the audience. This is not a bomb that blows up and throws fragments out. It's a bomb that marks the target when they're practicing, and they drop these and they designate where it hits the ground. It does a white powder phosphate. So it's a target bomb, not a exploding, damaging bomb. But it is, if you want to play with it, you can get hurt.
It does make a big bang.
Just ask little David.
Okay, any other questions on the bomb? Old business. No old business. New business. Property tax.
So Commissioner Meyer was going to go talk to them and come back and give a report.
There's nothing to really report, other than I was concerned about how much money goes to the airport, and I think you have those numbers, right?
I do have those numbers. I can bring it back next time. I don't have it with me today. The airport gets about $40,000 a year.
And remind me, that's from which, the
Possessory.
possessory interest? Okay, thank you.
I hope you all paid them, huh? Your taxes? Oh, thank you.
They're high enough.
Okay. Any other discussion on taxes? New business, property tax, oh, I'm sorry. Item 10 is next agenda. Any items to continue to next agenda?
And 7A,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we Cross off the bomb.
7F, 7C.
Wait, are you reading off what's going to come back?
Yeah, coming back to the agenda.
Yeah. 7D. Do you want an update on the fiber project?
Sure.
7E. Do you want me to bring you the text numbers?
No.
Okay.
Any other items to add to the agenda?
Jump zone?
Yeah.
The what? I'm sorry.
Jump zone.
There's a proposed new skydive parachute landing area.
Okay. Any other items? All right. Action items. What is the intent there? Action item? Okay. I'm assuming all agenda items could be action items. All right, next meeting date is October 24th. Is that correct?
That is a true and correct date.
Is what?
It is correct.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second?
I have a motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Meeting adjourned.
If you guys can line up and give me your forms one at a time, not on any folders and not with a hand underneath it.